Hi, I'm Katie.albee. I'm a real estate agent in Boulder, Colorado. Today's video is about the seller's settlement statement. And the seller's settlement statement is a final figure of what you owe and what you'll get as a credit and what you can expect your final proceeds to be. Now, a few days before closing, you're going to get a copy of these final figures. But well before you even put your house in the market, you can start to work with your real estate agent to begin to understand what you might walk away with in the end based upon what you may or may not sell your house for and what some of these other costs are going to be along the way. So in your seller's settlement statement, you're going to see a list of line items, and then you're going to see a debit column and a credit column. First things first is the purchase price. The purchase price is different from what you listed the home for, and it might be a little bit different than what you went under contract for because there could have been some negotiation along the way. But once you finally get to the closing table, this purchase price is set in stone. And for you, the seller, this is going to be a credit. Now, it would be wonderful if you got all of that money. However, there are other things you most likely owe and you're going to have to pay for. So here's what we're going to start to see on the debit side. First, if you don't own your house free and clear, or you didn't once pay for it in cash, you're still going to have a mortgage. You're going to have a bit left on your loan that you're going to have to pay off. And so this is a debit, and you can be sure that your lender is not going to let you sell this house until they get their money. Next is the sales commission. And typically in Colorado, the seller is paying both the commission of their listing agent and the commission of the buyer's agent. So sorry, dear seller, this is something that you owe. Next are charges that come from the title company. The first is the closing fee. Currently in Colorado, it's pretty common that this closing fee is split 50-50 between the buyer and the seller. And right now, this cost in Boulder is around $400. Next is the owner's coverage. Here, what we're talking about is the title coverage. So once you go under contract, it's pretty typical that the seller is usually the one paying for this because they need to ensure to the buyer that there are no other liens on this home and that there's going to be no surprises once they purchase the property. Also, in addition to this general coverage, there could be owner's extended coverage, known as OEC. So when you get your title work, you're going to see, here's a list of things that the title company says, we guarantee that there are no issues here, no other liens or holdings on this property. And then they'll also say on another page, here's the exceptions, here's what we're not guaranteeing. Now this owner's extended coverage could cover some of those additional exceptions, and that's why here you see it called the deletion of exceptions. And typically it's not going to cost more than around $100. Next, you're going to see the Payoff Processing Fee, and this is the title company turning around and going to the mortgage company and paying off your loan. Now you still may see a few other fees that come up here. There could be a mail-out closing fee, say you don't live within the state and the title company is working back and forth with you to mail some documents. Or you might see something else like an electronic recording fee. Maybe the title company needs to send certain documents to be recorded with the county. There could be some additional fees that you're going to see here as well, depending upon your specific situation. And also, like I mentioned before, it could be that you'll see these title charges or some of these other categories split out in different ways or called different things. But if you have any questions, never hesitate to reach out to your title point person and they can explain all of this to you. Next are going to be prorations. This is when certain expenses are paid in arrears, and the best example I can give you is about county taxes. These are your property taxes. So for example, when you live in your home for an entire year, you typically don't pay the taxes, those property taxes, until the following year. So let's say you're selling your home in 2018, you've owned it for a certain amount of months, then you move out, then the buyer moves in, and then that following year, they get a bill for county taxes. Now, they shouldn't have to be paying those taxes during the time in which you live there. So the title company, they're collecting the money up front for those taxes while you live there and giving it to the buyer. So when the time comes for them to pay the bill, they have money in the bank to do so. Another thing that might come up are the HOA dues. Sometimes those are paid in arrears as well. And you could see a few other prorations crop up as well. Finally, there will be additional settlement fees, and you may or may not have this depending upon your situation, but one that's pretty typical if you have an HOA, sometimes to transfer the ownership, the HOA, they want specific documents filled out and there will be a cost for that. And there could be some additional miscellaneous expenses. A really common one is a credit that might go to the seller or the buyer. This often comes up during negotiations for inspection items. And finally, at the end, you're going to see your proceeds. You can think about this as your profit for selling your house. It's the purchase price minus all the other costs that you had to pay. So I hope this seller's settlement statement video is helpful for you to start to wrap your mind around what you can expect. And also, feel free at the very beginning of working with your real estate agent, have this conversation about what you can expect to walk away with, depending upon what you end up selling your home for and all those other costs that you might expect down the road. Thanks so much for watching.